You are now listening to Bull Hook Golf, an unfiltered golf podcast taking you inside the ropes with unfiltered stories, insights, analysis, and exclusive interviews. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Bull Hook Golf, the podcast. This is episode number 61. And First and foremost, Bobby, I got to give it up to you. Round of applause. We're going to get into it in a little bit. For the potentially the greatest comeback of all time in the penny bets.
I know.
We'll be talking about it as we go on, but we're going to be talking about the Wells Fargo Championship that just wrapped up at Quail Hollow. That's what's behind me here. We've got the 18th hole, spectacular, the creek all along the side. We've got the upcoming at&t Byron Nelson that we're going to be talking about. And then guess what?
What?
We got another Live Golf event coming up, Live Golf Tulsa. I actually kind of like that these events are happening a little bit quicker now. I mean, they flew all the way over from Singapore. I guess you got to give them a week off, right? Flying from Singapore all the way back to the States.
Yeah.
So.
But did you notice I was looking at the schedule? I flew in yesterday. I was looking at the schedule at the airport. Did you know that they got a run coming up here in a month or two where they actually have 2 or 3 tournaments that are exactly a month apart? Like really? 2 in a row. Yeah, like 2 tournaments in 60 days or something like that.
That's so hard for momentum to pick up. You know what I mean? For the fans and everything. It's tough. But we'll get into that. We've got our good and the bad of Live Golf. We're going to be doing our golf picks but louder segment. Yeah, that's when the earmuffs come on for all those Live lovers is what we have nicknamed them, the hardcore enthusiasts for Live Golf who happen to listen to our podcast still. Who knows why? Anyways, let's talk about the Wells Fargo Championship at Quail Hollow and Wyndham Clark. Buddy, my goodness.
I told all 3,938 of you fuckers that it was going to happen. I could just see it, you know? Sometimes you can just see it. I could see the mental change that he made, because he used to be a handful on the golf course. He'd get so pissed, you know, and he's just turned the corner. And I've always raved about, I mean, I'm going to tell you this guy, I think this is that special kind of talent that, you know, it took Max a while to get going. And I think this guy's in the same scenario. He was just too talented early that he was never going to lose his card or have any stress or anything like that. He was just, the tough part was getting out of his own way, but he's fun. Even though you're competing against him, like, well, I've been paired with him a couple times in Vegas, and you're just like, God, this guy fucking bombs it. He's got hands, he's got an iron game, he's got a wedge game, and he can roll the pill. And I'm super happy for him for all the changes he made, and he finally cashed in. I'm super happy for me that I actually called this against Cameron, against our bet with
I'm so
Cameron
pissed off
Young,
about it, but I'm happy
you
about
must,
it too.
But listen, if we reversed it and I was sitting where you were and I was on the Cameron Young side of that bet, I'd feel pretty good. You know what I mean?
Because it's just a matter until the Masters happen.
It's just a matter of time. But I do want to give a shout out to Wyndham Clark's caddy, John Ellis, who is a good friend of mine that we go back, honestly, Matt, 20 years. He was a star at the University of Oregon when I first started caddying on the Canadian Tour way back when. He was one of the better players from Northern California. We played all our practice rounds with him and that kind of stuff. And he was like the best of the Canadian Tour players, ball striking wise, that I thought. And he actually made it to the Corn Ferry Tour a couple times, and it didn't work out. His path wasn't there. And then he went to coach at Oregon. He was an assistant coach under Casey Martin at Oregon for some years with Norman John. And that's where his connection to Wyndham is. And then he started caddying and you know, $300,000 later. It's funny. I texted him early on Sunday morning before the round 2. And I wanted to give him this, it wasn't my spot, but I wanted to give him this rah-rah speech that I had gotten from somebody in the past that, like, hey, here's the deal. You're probably going to lose the lead at some point at this time. You're supposed to lose the lead, but it's what you do after that matters, not what you've done before that. But
that's pretty good.
Yeah, but it's because it's true in those scenarios, right? But I just condensed it to just wishing you good luck, man. I feel like it's your time, and he said thanks, and hit me back real early. And it's funny, I called him 3 or 4 weeks ago when we were discussing our Cam Young bet when that came up and that kind of stuff. And I told him, and I'm like, Johnny, you're gonna win soon. He's like, God, I know it. I can just feel it. And it's like, I don't know. I thought it was pretty epic that he won on Derby weekend and everything like that. And it's just, fuck, if you're gonna pop. Yeah, dude, if you're going to pop your cherry at 20, $20 million purse. That's probably more money than John Ellis getting 365 grand. That's more money than he probably made in his Canadian Tour and Corn Ferry Tour career. So I think this guy is off and running to the races, and it's one of those talents that we're going to see him. Maybe you agree, in the top 20 for the rest of his career for a long, long time, because he possesses that kind of game. And everybody saw, not that I'm saying I know everything, but he went through that the first 7 holes. He couldn't get his feet under him. He wasn't hitting greens. He wasn't making any putts. He had a couple hard lip outs. Xander actually took the lead, if I'm not mistaken, after 7 holes. And then all you have to do is pull up Wyndham Clark's scorecard on a place like Quail Hollow on a Sunday when you start the day off with a lead. And if you see 4 birdies and no bogeys, that's how you win a fucking golf tournament and finish a golf tournament off on the PGA Tour, right? And I know John Rahm wasn't there and Scotty Scheffler wasn't there, and people are saying, oh, the viewership was down from last year, because obviously those guys bring in a lot of viewers, but it was still a pretty fucking good field. It was a great field, 60 some world ranking boards is right up there. So it was a great week for Wyndham Clark. It was a great week for Xander. He finished second. He got beat 4 shots, finished 15 under or something like that. Harris English, Tyrell Hatton were there 12 under. It's funny, it was a 2-horse race all day, right? Nobody else was making a run. Sungjae did his typical thing where he made a run kind of on Saturday. He made a run early on Sunday, and then he made some bogeys, and then he hit one in the water on 17 and made double. And it's that atypical Sungjae weekend Sunday that I've been talking about, where he puts himself in position, and it's just the biggest head scratcher why he can't seem to get it done. And I know he's been roughing up Lance a little bit the last couple of weeks, but when you keep finishing 6th and 8th and 11th, and I just don't think it's comes down to your caddy, to be quite honest with you. But I thought for a quick second on Monday, after he made the double bogey on 17, I'm like, there's a 50-50 chance my phone's going to ring on Monday and they are going to do some shuffling and that kind of stuff. But it looks like it's past the danger zone. I told you in the past, when Billy Spencer, when I went in at Honda and Sungjae kind of opened up to me about caddies for the first time, and he was telling me he wanted to get rid of Billy, a year ago, but he had finished 2nd or 3rd at the Scottish and another top 3 somewhere else. And he's like, as long as I was playing good and everything like that. So he's definitely on form. I know Sungjae's playing. I know he's playing great. So hopefully he can. Part of me wants him to win, and part of me doesn't want him to win. The selfish part of me too, because I've always told you that I feel like I'm gonna, it's possible. Depending on what the future holds with Troy in the next 3 or 4 years or something like that, that it's possible that, when a Korean bag comes open, my name comes up, and I try and help them out if it's nothing that I feel like I should do myself. So, a little side rant there, a little Bobby Brown, because I guess we're still in the year of the caddy. I don't know. That's mostly what we talk about, other than our favorite topic, live. But there's some other guys I want to talk about on the leaderboard.
Yeah,
on the leaderboard too, especially with the major coming up. Tyrell Hatton had a great week. He plays great tough golf courses, super hard. I never thought anybody was going to get to 19 under. I thought it was going to be 14 or 15 under. So hats off to him. Tommy Fleetwood kind of been getting on form. Another good finish for him. I think he finished 11 under, tied for 3rd. There's an American Korean I want to talk about a little bit. He won John Deere a few years ago. His name's Michael Kim, right? So
yeah.
He won John Deere. He came out of Cal. He played with Max. He was super highly regarded. He made the cut when he was like an amateur at Marion in the U.S. Open. He's an unbelievable putter, and he's got an unbelievable short game. But he went through a stretch after he won of trying to change some things, right? And he missed like 20-some cuts in a row. And then he lost all status. He lost everything. He decided to change everything with Sean Fullen. He's been working super duper hard to get some more speed and that kind of stuff. And I got to see it up close at Pebble this year in a practice round. And I told this guy, he told me, I'm like, Michael Kim is a different player than he was 3 years ago. He's longer. He's much more confident. He's exuding the walk and the confidence and that little air that you have to have. So I don't know why I'm going on this, but he had a great week, and he finished tied for 5th or something like that at 10 under. But I feel like Michael Kim is a name that could sneaky long shot, sneak up and win like a John Deere again, or something like that. I've also been talking a little bit this year about Denny McCarthy, the really good putter. He had another week too.
I saw he had a top 10.
Yeah, he did. He finished tied for 8th with a bunch of guys at 9 under. And I feel like it's just a matter of time before before he wins. KH Lee, who's here this week and is trying to become one of the sexiest man alive, trying to win this tournament for 3 years in a row. Had a nice week, had a really good Sunday, tied 8th. We all know Max Homa had a good week after not a great start on the first day. I know that hurts your heart because I picked Max and you did not, and he finished at 9 under. Ricky, another week back to top 50 in the world rankings. Not that I know if the world rankings are very valid anymore, but when you made the move that he's made in the last 6 months up the world rankings, it gives me personally a hope for my team, the way that we are struggling. And so those little stories keep me going on a daily basis. JT, I guess, had a good tournament for him, T14, but not really, because he turned in 12 under and gave it all back. And you could see his body language and Bones's body language after they make a couple bogeys. And I've said it in the past before. You just got to feel like the weight of the world is on his shoulders to try and, why he doesn't win 3 to 5 times a year is probably a big question mark. I have my own opinions on that, but it is Justin Thomas's time of the year coming up here, the week after next with the PGA, which he is obviously going to be, one of the top 3 guys to be winning that tournament twice. Once there at Quail, his very first one, and last year at Southern Hills. So all in all, it was a good week. If anybody doesn't know, we missed the cut. We were on the number. We 4-putted 17. I shit my pants, and we barely missed another
shit your pants out there.
Yeah, and I shit my pants, and I didn't have wipes in the bag, and it was a real messy and runny. But I was sharing for everybody out there. I was sharing with Matt, not venting. But it's funny when you get in these scenarios with a player, which he's never been in one, I've never been in. That they're not playing with fucking full deck upstairs, and it's pretty obvious to me that my guy has been playing good on Thursdays, and then on Fridays he's playing to not miss the cut. So we had a night. We'll see if my pep talks work. They work for 9-year-old soccer teams. I don't know if they're going to work for a 36-year-old journeyman.
Highland champ, bro.
Yeah, James Highland champ, bro.
Oh, James Highland.
Just had more tryouts. That season's over. Just had more tryouts. Now my 6-year-old starts with this Charleston Soccer Club. So I'm fucking going to be doing double duty. Dad. I am totally a soccer dad. So I'm pretty stoked about that. But my point was, I can give those guys pep talks, but I fucking I kind of ran my guy, but gave him a pep talk on Friday, like I told you. And for everybody out there, I just told them what I just said. I'm like, we are fucking playing to not miss cuts when we should be playing on fucking Thursday through Sunday to win a fucking golf tournament. And this is the perfect course coming up for it, because they go super low out here, mid-20s. 20 some under. God, I think 27 under won it last year or something like that. So you pretty much fucking fired every flag, and we're going to be aggressive as fuck. And my guy looked good in a fucking practice round today, like really, really, really good. Like he's syncing up. So if I can just give him what do they call it? A lobotomy or something. If I can just cut out the left part, or I'm not smart enough to know if he's left brained or right brained, but I'm going to fucking get in there and take something out. And I was getting after him today too. I'm like, I'm fucking calling the shots today and the tee shots and that kind of stuff. And he's like, whoa, Bob's aggressive. And I'm like, well, fucking somebody's got to be, jump on my back, kid. I can help you out, especially on a Tuesday. So anyways, that's my Bobby Brown Quail Hollow rundown. I'm sure I missed some guys that needed some respect, but
you missed my guy, Adam Scott. And then
I know I said Scotty.
I said Scotty. Okay, I missed that then. No,
your guy.
The one that I also wanted to, because I saw him this morning at the gym, was Kevin Streelman. So Streelman had a good week. He actually played really well. He got off to a really good start. He was second at one point there through the first 2 days, and played really well.
Good dude. Yeah, good dude. Good dude.
And then
this is.
Just a shout out to his trainer over at PFS. So I train over at PFS here in Scottsdale.
Isn't that where Wyndham Clark trains too?
So my trainer Ando is Wyndham's personal trainer. So guess who was back in the gym today and back at it and working his ass off. I saw the workout today and I'm like, holy shit, like he's getting right back after it. So no time to waste. And I mean, one day off really with Monday? I mean, I don't even know what his schedule is like Monday, but when you're back in the gym working that hard on Tuesday after you won for the first time on Sunday, that's got to go show you a little something. So look who's bringing a little bit of insight here to the podcast.
Do you talk? Yeah, well, I like it. Do you talk to? Have you met? From New York, huh? Hey, do you talk to him at all? Have you introduced him?
I have not.
Do you know?
I have not met him as of yet. Streelman, we've met through. I mean, we work out at the same time a lot of times in the mornings, so we run into each other quite a bit. But not.
If you ever get a chance, he's a great dude.
We don't work out at the same time because we have the same trainer.
Oh. Well, if you run into each other and you cross paths, he's a good dude. Introduce yourself and do me a favor. Tell him about our little podcast and tell him about my prediction against Cam Young. Just give me some props in case he ever gets rid of John. I want to be player. I want to be caddy B.
All right, I'll throw in a good word for you. I'll make sure to let Ando know as well.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
Actually, Ando knows about the bet because we talked about it beforehand. I'm like, oh gosh, Bobby stole Wyndham from me. He's got him on a year-long bet with me as far as who's going to get a win first, him or Cam. And so we had been talking about it for weeks prior. And I was telling him how much you're in love with him. You got a little bromance for him.
Yeah, I do have a little bromance for him for sure.
And I mean, he's jacked.
He is fucking jacked. You know, he's an athlete, right? You just look at the guy and you're like, this guy was probably a 3-sport athlete in high school. It's funny. I saw a little special on him. No, it wasn't the Golf Channel, but on social media. I guess he's original. I didn't know his story. He's originally from Colorado, right? He's like an outdoorsman. Okay. And did you know he lost his mom at a super young age when he was like 19 or 20 years old? So I read that story and I read everything that goes with that story when you're the child. You can kind of compare it to Joel Damon's story, losing his mom, how lost they are for a while. But I didn't know, putting the sappiness, the seriousness, life stuff aside, I didn't know he was a big fisherman, a big trout fisherman, fly fisherman, and that kind of stuff. And that's where he spends all his time. And the story was saying, like, when he lost his mom or when she was first starting to get sick, when he just couldn't handle it, a buddy of his is like, man, come fishing with me. You can imagine the beautiful scenery and the serenity of the Colorado mountains and that kind of stuff. So it was kind of a cool thing. It was social media that I saw, and I'm not sure who put it up or anything like that.
Did you see the cartoon one? Was that the one you saw? No. So there's a cartoon.
It was a real one. It was like
of him with the whole story about his mom. So I didn't see the whole fisherman stuff and everything.
No,
but
this was like something that like a little knockoff ESPN would shoot or something like that. It was like a mini 30 and 30, but it was so interesting. And I already liked him, but this just made me like him a lot more when somebody loses it with someone like that. And with all the bullshit going on today, you know what I mean? With the things that have happened in the last week, I am literally, how's this for some sad weirdness? I am literally 2 blocks away from where in Allen, Texas, where the guy opened up and killed 8 people in the outlets where I love to go. You know, I love to go to outlets.
I didn't even realize that it was that close to this week's tournament.
Oh my God. And it happened 3 days ago. And on I want to say this because we're totally unfiltered, but I want to say something serious because one of my best friends is an agent out here, Danny O, who works for Sungjae SH Kim. We'll talk about SH Kim here coming up very shortly a little bit. Sang Moon Bae, he was with KJ Choi forever. I told you he's a great guy. He's Korean, graduated from University of Texas, master's at NYU, just a great agent. And I'm really close with him. He's Korean. He lives here in Dallas, and he called me on the phone yesterday, and I could tell he was upset. I couldn't figure out what he upset. He's like, I thought he said I had a player request, like he was looking for a caddy. But now that I know the deal, he's like, I need a prayer request, and I'm like, it didn't make sense to me. So there was 3 Korean members in this, and I know this is depressing, but I want to get it out because it's been bothering me too. A husband, a wife, a 3-year-old Korean little boy by the last name of Cho, and a 6-year-old little boy. The 3-year-old, the mom and dad were killed. This guy killed them. The 6-year-old was grazed, was shot in the shoulder. He's out of ICU. He's doing much better. And this agent friend of mine, Danny O, he has a 6-year-old, and they're best friends. And they were just at the house for the birthday party 2 days before the shooting, and they were at the. I almost get misty talking about this, but I already cried enough last night, so I'm not going to. But they were at that mall, Matt, to exchange the birthday clothes that the 6-year-old had got, and it's Danny's like, I just can't. We were just with them, right? Oh. We were just with them, and something like that happens. And I know you're in Arizona, I'm in South Carolina, and guns are like a big thing for hunting and everything like that. And I don't get into political bullshit and that kind of stuff. But I saw this text from Andy Roddick, the tennis player, today that made perfect sense to me. He goes, I don't understand the lack of gun control in this country. If you treated it like you're like driving a car, think about it. You know what I mean? You got to pass a mental test, a physical test, an eye test. You have to train for 6 months before you get a license. There's insurance, there's stop signs, there's speed bumps, all this stuff that made sense that I just feel like, and listen, I know when it's a gang related thing and there's illegal guns and that whole market and everything like that, you can't control any of that. But you just kind of think that maybe if we got a little stronger with some gun control or something like that, if it could just stop one of those shootings, it would be a moral victory. So I don't know why I'm getting all serious. I wanted to get it out, and I basically want to tell everybody that listens
that has close kids to home.
That has kids, and it's so close to me via Danny that kids have home that, man, hug your kids, right? Hug your wife, tell them you love them, because you just never know. Back on to golf. I'm done.
So true.
No more.
Oh, I mean, great call on that.
Jerk you up on that one, but it's heavy shit, man.
Started giving me a little teary-eyed there.
I know, and here I'm whining about the golf and everything like that, and it's like, what the fuck, man?
Brings everything back to reality, right?
Real. It makes it real. It makes it all real.
On. Yep.
Yeah, it makes it all real. So
well, let's move to a happy topic for you.
Yeah.
The penny bet.
No, I'm only
Gosh darn it, the damn penny bet. Bobby
happy
has
for me.
The greatest comeback of all time, folks. I've never seen anything quite like it. I mean, you might have seen basketball teams come back from like 25 points down. This was like Bobby coming back from 9,000 points down and came all the way back. And now he is actually up 1,000 pennies right now. It's the greatest comeback in penny bet history. Bobby Brown picked Max Homa this week. He wins against me.
Yes.
Cam Young has struggled since the Masters.
Yeah,
and there's no doubt that played a toll on him. Yeah. So not a great pick post Masters, but with that said, you also got Wyndham Clark, who he won our first victory bet.
Yes, everybody's probably laughing at me. Wyndham Clark over Cam Young, but like I said, it's like I've said it before. It's like a racehorse. You know what you get a feeling. You know when they're going to run a big one. You know when they're getting close to winning. I know he made a bunch of mental changes, and the topic you just talked about, how he's a true professional now, right? Hitting the gym 24 hours after, within 24 hours of winning, when after you celebrate on Sunday night, first win, those guys like to drink beers, him and John, and they like action. He probably had about 30 fucking beers and dusted himself off Monday night and said, I'm getting right back at it Tuesday with the PGA with the PGA coming up. So for all of you who want the stats, I think I have gone like 11-2 or 10-1, maybe.
I don't even want to know what the stats are.
Good news for you are though, but with Liv being back, we'll have about 3 bets this week, and I can either open up a little lead on you, or you can flip me. You can flip me right back to the way you had me.
No, it's terrible because you have the cheat code.
It's over.
You have your cheat code in Siwon Kim. I would challenge you to choose anybody other than him.
Maybe I will this week, honestly, because I got a rundown. When we get to Live, I got the rundown on this course they're playing. I got a big time rundown on it. Big time from Bo Van Pelt, who lives in Tulsa, 12 minutes from the course. So I got a big rundown on that. We had a big caddy. We had a big caddy change.
Please do share the good old
we had a big caddy change. So everybody knows that I stay with the king of Tito's vodka, Micah, who I hooked up with SH Kim, and this rookie that I rave about, who's like a baby Sunday to me as far as ball striking goes and everything. So things haven't been going good. Micah's history is he was with Billy Horschel forever. He was with Joe Ogilvy for 8 years, got the shit beat out of him with that tough bag. And then he went to Billy Horschel. They won a FedEx Cup. And then Micah's worked for some real solid players, KH Lee, Doug Gim, SH Kim. He's just been a stable, really above average caddy for a long time, but staying with him for a couple of weeks, I knew things weren't going good with him in the Korean. And Billy Horschel had reached out to him at Hilton, had said, "Hey, if you're Hilton Head, I got this big house, come stay with me," which was weird. Micah thought it was weird. He's like, "What do you think that's all about?" I go, "I think he's going to want to fucking hire you back because I know his regular caddy, Billy's a self-admittedly tough bag. A lot of goes with being Billy Horschel's caddy, some abuse in there, you know, and I know Fuchs' caddy, they weren't having a great run. I think he was like 105 on the FedEx, and Billy's run through quite a few caddies after having success with them quite quickly. So we were sitting around our hotel last week, and he goes, "Oh, I just got a text from Billy saying, hey, call me when you got a few minutes." And I'm like, fucking put the beer down and the vodka down, because Billy's wife has, you know, has struggled with her alcohol and has probably saved a lot of people's lives from her story, honestly, how motivating she was when she kicked the habit. And hats off to Mrs. Horschel for stepping up and doing something like that. Cheers. Especially being the family mom that she is, big time. And so, yeah, they had the conversation, and Billy asked Micah to come back, and Micah was having a tough week with H.H. Kim. So Micah is officially going back to Billy Horschel. Ooh. I think my guy Fuchs had enough, and we have another not depressing story, but we have another good friend, a European caddy. He's kind of famous. His name Johnny Long Socks. He's the one that wears the long socks with all the whatever city he's in. Johnny's alongside. So he wears Air Jordan 1 highs, all different colors, all different collabs, and then he wears long socks, and he always represents whatever city we're in. Like if he was caddying this week, he would wear the Dallas Cowboys. So he's been a fan favorite, and he is honestly, I'm going to tell you, he's like one of the top 5 caddies I've ever worked with in my life. There's never not a smile on this guy's face. You can learn a lot from him, whether things are good or things are bad. He's with Paul Casey for, you know, probably 6 or 7 years. He started feeling sick like about 5 or 6 weeks ago. They thought it was meningitis. They went and did some tests, and he had some issues with his brain, and he's recovering from a brain I'll just say it, a brain operation. But I've been talking to him. I got all the good news this week, man.
Yeah, jeez.
I've been talking to him every week. He's doing great. He's at home. So my point of the story is I think Fuchs will go to work for Paul Casey and take the easy money on the live while Johnny recuperates. So that's kind of, it's not a grande oso move. Around. Yeah, it's not a grande move, but it's a big move. You know what I mean? It's a big move. And honestly, but Mike was asking me, he's like, what would you do? And I'm like, well, you have Billy, right? Billy will not. It's Billy in the past has not played good for a year or two, but you know, Billy Horschel can pop up and win any tournament at any time. He's just that good. He's super streaky when he gets it going. He's a workaholic. He's a perfectionist. He can't stand for anything less than perfection. That's just the way his life is. He does everything to the fullest, and he has to do everything perfect. So, but the one thing I was thinking was like, yeah, it's Billy Horschel, but you're looking at S.H. Kim, who's 60 something on the FedEx Cup list with these top 50 deals coming up, and top 70, and Billy's at 105. So I wish Micah the best of luck. Obviously, this is Danny O, the agent I just talked about here from Texas. So I've been having a lot of discussions with them. They have a Korean caddy on the bag this week, because the kid SH felt like he knows he doesn't know hardly 2 words of English. So there's no talk in between shots, and you can't, you know, it's like the early Sungjae. Even though Sungjae's English is getting quite better now, you can hold a conversation with him in between shots. I think this kid is just a baby Sungjae, and he wants to try and find a Korean caddy. And I was laughing with you, because a Korean caddy with PGA Tour experience, even his agent's laughing. It's like they just don't. You can't call the factory and make one up. So apparently he's got a Korean buddy on the bag that's never caddied ever before, never been on a golf course. They're like, had to teach him how to rake bunkers. Thank God we didn't get his pairing, you know, because I think SH is a little bit on the slow list as it is. So I'll keep you posted here in the next week or two. I think they're going to try and make a decision of what they're going to do. And when some news breaks, I'll probably know on the next week's episode on Tuesday. So other than that, not any major caddy moves, but I wouldn't be surprised to see. I mean,
those are all major caddy moves.
Yeah,
Bobby, you got a bunch of guys going full circle, heading back to the players they used to be with.
Yeah. I mean, what's old is new.
Who knows how long this trend's going to be going on for?
And I think that's why. And then I think, and I've done it wrong in the past. I've done it right in the past, more wrong in the past. But I think that's like when you're a guy like you do it the right way, right? You do it the right way, because you never know 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years later what might come back your way. So I would imagine, you know how these changes go. When a caddy leaves a player, it's usually an auto top 5 for the new caddy. So that would put Micah in the chips at the PGA or somewhere shortly thereafter, and it would put S.H. Kim in the chips. Obviously, he didn't qualify for the PGA, but he'll be up and running. He's having such a good rookie year. He's going to get into Colonial, which is a hard one to get into, Invitational and Memorial also. And it's getting close to U.S. Open time again too, right? All these local qualifiers have been going down recently, and then we'll all have sectionals coming up here in about 3 weeks, spread across the country. So we're going to be in LA North this year, which I have never been to, and I just hate watching majors on the couch, and it sucks dick that I'm going to have to watch the PGA on the couch next year, because I feel like Oak Hill is a course that I might know, not that I've been there a lot other than the 8 days I was there when Dustin finished 7th or whatever, and the PGA when Duff won, but it's like one of those courses where I can almost quote every shot that Dustin hit in every hole, and I know they went over and tweaked it. And that's a whole nother episode. Yeah. That's kind of your territory up there. I mean, it's a little more upstate.
I had one client when I was doing golf simulators that he was a member over at Oak Hill, and we went out and we played both courses, and man, what a beautiful and just pristine golf course during, especially like the spring, summertime. It's the perfect time of year up there because it's right next to Buffalo with Rochester and near Niagara Falls and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's good. It's hard. I remember it's super cold in the mornings, right? It's low 40s early in the mornings, and then it can get up to the low to slightly mid 60s with some sun shining and that kind of stuff. So you have to adjust how far the golf ball's not going to fly early in the morning. But like I said, it's you, as you know, you've been there. It's a great iconic layout with a lot of history, a historic clubhouse, and it's fucking the PGA Championship. It's a major. But we'll see, man. That's a whole other episode coming up. And now
talking about the PGA, and talking about players that are a bit unsettled and switching to some new caddies and the caddy shakeup. I mean, it kind of leads me to our next topic, which is Rory McIlroy. Yeah. What the hell is going on with Rory?
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I wouldn't panic. Yeah, obviously
he doesn't look good, Bobby. He looks mentally fatigued.
And I mean, it's been a tough year for him with the PGA Tour and LIV. We all know that, but I feel like he's still young enough where that shouldn't affect him that much. It's not like he's in his 40s or 50s. I just feel like here's the deal to me. I feel like the driver's not right now, starting back at Augusta, and now he switched back to another putter again last week. So I think that's fucking with him a little bit. 2, I do know Rory well enough to tell you that I guarantee he's at home in Florida right now, and he's working on his game every single day. And I'm going to tell you right now, he'll be a force. I have a feeling at Oak Hill. Oak Hill favors a lot. I know Duff picked it apart, but there's not a course these days in majors that doesn't favor a long hitter. Really, honestly, almost all of them do, unless you catch funky British Open firm conditions where it just brings the whole field together. But sure. I wouldn't panic with Rory. And we've discussed this, you and I, in the past, that even the best players in the world will go where 2 or 3 weeks where you're like, oh, what's wrong with so-and-so, and because we're so used to them being in the mix with 45 minutes to go every other Sunday or every Sunday that they play, really, right? Truth? So it gets instilled in your brain that way. But I think he's just, probably doesn't have a lot of confidence and that kind of stuff, and he's probably going to work that out. And I know Keith Barbaro, who's the vice president of TaylorMade Tour Operations, it takes a personal investment besides a business investment into his big time players. So I guarantee you he's there with Rory somewhere in Florida on the range for a couple of days this week, which is a bunch of driver heads and trying to get that worked out. So I think Rory's going to be just fine, and I think he'll be in the mix for Oak Hill coming up. So that's kind of my take on that. Do you have anything to say on that? Or
I don't know. I just feel like he's got a lot more gray hairs going on than he had before the Masters. We all do, but I mean, he really was the face of the entire LIV versus PGA Tour, and I wonder if the whole Masters deal, to where everybody just accepted the LIV golf guys, and that everything became I don't know if I was in his shoes, because I can't speak for him, but if I was in his shoes, I'd be like, man, everybody turned to all of a sudden we're not going to be like in this situation with these guys anymore. Like, we're just going to let it be peaceful. Like, what was all my effort going towards. Like there was that battle and that fight. And I mean, he took it very personal, and I know he was battling against everything, and it kind of seemed like I mean, Justin Thomas was up there with him for a while. Justin Thomas took kind of the back seat, which was a good thing for him to do, and to let everything kind of, not to say mellow out, but Rory stayed in it. Right. Rory was and became that face. And there's been a lot of criticism about the no cut events, which, by the way, that's another topic in and of itself. You heard from the commish.
I did.
The commish said he wants there not to be cuts on those. So
I was surprised, not surprised, because I know Tiger and all the players, the bigger players, were pushing to have cuts in that, because those fields, even though it's top 50, I think the fields, from what I understand, the fields are going to be between 60 and low 70s, because there's different ways to qualify. I think if you win out here, other than if it's like a Tahoe or a Barbasol, when it slices another tournament like a major or something like that the same week as the Open, I guess I'm talking about Tahoe. I think all the winners from this year also get into those designated events. So it would nice to, let's just round it off and say you have a 70-man field. It'd be nice to, have top 40 in ties or something like that. But like we talked about, when you asked me what I thought about how these designated events were in a whole, and I thought they were very successful, I also mentioned that I thought there would be tweaking like the FedEx Cup over the next 2 or 3 years. So I look for them to turn into, I feel like it's a little late, but I feel like with Tiger and these guys keep pushing on it, that kind of stuff, they use it is the Players Tour when all push comes to shove. And I think they will, I hate to say get their way, but I think they will be happy here in the next year or two.
Let's put it this way. It is the tour for the top players.
It is the tour for the top players. Yep. It is the tour for the top players. There's no getting around this. Getting back to your Rory thing, I like your angle on something like that. I also thought about another angle too. You got to feel like he's got so much pressure when he rolls into Augusta, and when he throws up and lays an egg like that. That fucks with his brain too.
Well, I think that's why he decided, it's not worth the $3 million fine or it's worth the $3 million fine that was Hilton Head. And I'm just going to, go home, get away from it all, reset. And to him, I mean, let's be truthful here, with all his contracts and I mean, with how much money he earns on the tour, is the $3 million bonus that big of a deal? Yeah, I mean, it's still $3 million, but at the end of the day, what's more important, money or your mental health? And I've got to give it to Rory on that one, that your mental health probably plays more of a factor in a role when it comes to that. So,
let's not forget he's got a young daughter named Poppy at home too. So it can't ever be a bad thing to go home and spend time with your wife and your little one. And he's probably transitioning heavy into that stage of his career now, where parenting is right up there with golf. So, like I said, my opinion is I think he'll pop out of it because he's fucking Rory McIlroy, and him and one or two other guys are the best players in the world when they're firing. And I think he'll be a force to don't kill. Those guys at the big ones seem to step it up more often than not. That's for sure. And it's not like he went out there and shot 80. He was struggling. He made the cut on a hard golf course, which he's dominated on before. So it was a big disappointment because it is Rory McIlroy. But now we're
one last thing. One last thing before we jump to Dallas, which this will tie us right into Dallas and the at&t Byron Nelson.
Sure.
But I just want to say that I was calling for that at the beginning with the no cuts, because you have no other professional sports to where you have that big of names that will show up and have an opportunity to not get paid. So I know there's show fees and or to show up at golf tournaments, and sponsors will pay it on the side and stuff like that. But that kind of eliminates that side to it. So for that, I'm for the no cuts next year for the designated events to make sure that all the big names come in and they know they're getting paid. I'm good with that. However, it is a little bit, it's hypocritical, right? That, all the criticism about no cuts and not being real events and things like that the commissioner has said. And then all of a sudden PGA Tour is now, it's a little hypocritical, Bobby. But moving to the at&t Byron Nelson, you do not need to comment. In defense,
and I've said, I'm going to comment because I've said this comment before, but everybody keeps forgetting it. You remember before Live started, we actually had no cut events before that. Maui's a no cut event. WGCs were no cut events. So there was always
Damn it, Bobby.
there was always a few tournaments that were no cut events. So
why you got to be the voice of reason, huh?
I mean, it's 2023. People forget stuff. I understand. There's a lot going on in the world. That was
some
years
of us
ago when
smoke toad poison, and some of us,
that's true.
forget those things.
Dallas time? On to Dallas?
On to Dallas. We got the at&t Byron Nelson, Iron Byron this week.
Yes, Iron Byron this week at TPC Craig Ranch. So this has been a host course, a TPC course that's had it the last some odd years. It was famous for being like a second stage Q school course. A lot of the Dallas caddies and players that live here know it well. So check this out. Here's one tournament. Here's one golf course that I've never been to over the years. But since it got moved here, it's just for whatever scheduling my Korean guys and Troy didn't play in it last year. So I flew in at the crack of dawn yesterday morning, and we practiced. And I know my guys grinding. We practiced for a couple hours. They had a rain delay. It got hot as fuck out here, almost 90 degrees. The Cootie twins are in the field this week, Pearson and
just
Parker.
Sounds great. The Cootie twins.
So I told Troy, I'm like, I got to be prepared. And I like going to a new golf course that I've never seen because I take my time and I look at it. So I'm told, I'm going to go walk off the day. They didn't tee up till 2:20, hot as balls. And I go, I'm going to go walk with Pearson and my son for 18 holes. Almost fucking dropped like on 13. It was so hot.
Are you drinking enough water, Bobby? Are you getting the
here's
electrolytes?
The deal. This is a super popular tournament with a ton of people, and you have all the Dallas Thunderbirds, I'll call them. They wear their red pants and everything like that, and it's kind of a beer fest, and there's a lot of beer in the locker room for after the rounds. It's encouraged amongst the caddies and players to be loosey-goosey this week, but every other hole did not have water on it because it was so hot. Everybody was drinking so much water, so it was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to drop. But then we got to a hole and I slammed. It's funny when you start dehydrating, when the water's like too cold, you can't drink it, right? Have you ever noticed that? Yeah. And I've always heard through the grapevine from players out here that it's best to drink water at room temperature or just slightly above room temperature, not freezing. So, yeah, there's a pro tip for you. The Arizona guy would know something like that plays golf there in the summer for sure.
Very 100%. Hydrated that way.
Yeah, very hydrated, which I'm the king of. I'm always putting stuff in my drinks, and I'm always trying new tablets or this or that.
Gotta stay on Troy this week about.
But I worked hard. I know. Yeah, well, good luck on that, Bob. Fucking dealing with Houdini over there. But I grinded it out. But 6-hour Monday Pro-Am, fucking brutal. I don't know how these guys do it. But I felt so good about myself. I came back and I laid down last night and I'm like, that's it. That's what hard work's all about. And I'm like, fuck, I'm shot right now. Fell asleep, was right back up at 4:30 this morning. We teed off at 7 o'clock this morning. And this golf course does nothing for me. Fucking nothing for me. I hope none of my red pants guys are listening to this, but God, I hope they move this fucking event. Number one, you have to shoot 26 or 27 under. It's Zoysia. The ball sits up perfect. They must have had a freezing tough winter because there's fucking patchwork. I wonder if you'll see it on TV. There's patchwork around every single green, like 2 or 3 layers of patchwork. There's patchwork in the middle of the fairways. There's some rough spots. And I swear to God, I'm going to say this is the first tour course I've been to that it doesn't seem to have any personality or character to it whatsoever. You feel like you're playing the same hole, the same par 4. The par 3s are good for sure. They're longer, but you feel like you're playing the same hole. Every green is designed the same. It's not until you get to like 13 or 14, this good long par 4 where you got to cover some rocks and this drivable hole with water on the left after that. 16 is a good par 3. There's like 3 good holes in the backside, but I was going through the whole front side. And when I've never seen a golf course before, and I walked 3 or 4 holes, and I definitely believe that you get through the first 4 holes here, and then you can go super Yahtzee after watching Troy and Streb and Martin Laird play it today. I can see that there's obviously a ton of birdies out there by the pass, but I'm just like, when I first walked the golf course, I'm like, how do they shoot 7 or 8 under here every day? I don't get it, because you look at the sign and you're like 485 yard par 4 or 495 or 512.
Is it just dry out there?
No, it's not. It's wet, but I don't know what it is. They don't play that long because they're wide open. They just don't play that long. I don't think we hit anything longer than we had a bunch of 8-irons and wedges into holes today, and we had one hole that we had maybe a 5-iron. A 5-iron into was the longest hole. I was telling you where it's a split fairway, and you try and cover some rocks to get one out there. We did 5-iron into that, and the hole before that, number 12, used to be a pretty easy par 5 at from 540 or something, but they moved it to about 5 bills and they made it a par 4. But we still hit a 7-iron into that one too. So just goes to show you how long these guys, even a guy like Troy Merritt, it's a 500-yard par 4. It plays a little downhill off the tee, but it's not like you got helping wind and it's Zoysia and it's soft Zoysia. So I would think that scores are going to be in the did I mention mid-20s again? Did I mention this golf course does fucking nothing for me?
Can we
whatsoever.
Get a little 31 action out there, you think, this week? Little minus 31 to win?
No, I don't think so. And the only reason why I say that is there's still going to be a lot of 4s on number 12, the modified par 5 to a par 4, but now it still was designed as a par 5 green, right? They always do that on tour. And I just think it's going to be, I'm going to call 24 or 25 is what I'm going to call right now. 24 or 25 would be my number. I think KH has won the last 2 years, and I think he was 27 under last year and just fucking stuffed it for 4 days straight, and we're going to get some weather this week starting tomorrow. So we have a feeling, all that patchwork, we were surprised it wasn't painted as ground under yet. That was like our big topic in the practice round. But we have a feeling that at soft conditions that it is right now, after the rain, and with us getting rain maybe here 3 or 4 days in a row, they might just start playing this thing ball in hand right off the bat on Thursday.
That's going to be low.
So that's going to move you. Now all of a sudden that 27, 28, and I don't know if 31 is
perfect lies out of that fairway.
Well, anytime a tour player can put their fucking hand on the ball, good things usually happen, right? Good things happen. So I am excited. Troy's been working hard. I told you he looked fantastic this morning. Little draw off the tee, some cuts with the irons. He worked super hard yesterday for a couple hours. He's putting after the round, and he's just, I think he's over it. You know what I mean? I think he's fucking over it. And when I grinded on him a little bit Friday night, he hit me back right before I fell asleep. And he goes, I just want you to know something. He goes, I've found every way to fuck up not getting to a Saturday that you could possibly do. So it should be over. There's nothing else I can fucking possibly do wrong to miss a Saturday that I haven't done all year. So we're probably going to go out and fucking win. And then finally I get to hear that from him, that he's getting a little attitude. So we'll see how it goes. You just got to make a fucking ton of birdies and keep pace and hopefully find yourself in a spot when you tee it up on Sunday where, you can get it done. So it should be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I am definitely looking forward to it, Matt. You want my pick?
I am too. Well, I'm looking forward to it. The field analysis was pretty good there. We got a lot of guys that are playing.
We had a lot of WDs. We had a lot of WDs this week. Jordan Spieth WD.
Yeah.
He tweeted. Yeah, hurt wrist. I'll bet $1 he's going to be healthy as a horse for the PGA next week. And
my wrist.
I don't know what the deal is. I'm just going to say Jordan's straight up guy, and then his wrist hurts because AT&T is his huge sponsor, and he lives here in Dallas. So you would have to think that
I would say that it's probably tweaked a little bit.
Yeah, it's probably tweaked a little bit. There's not a lot of rough out there, but you just can't gamble if you get in a funny spot, and you just can't gamble with Oak Hill right around the corner with a player of that talent. Tom Kim's in the field. Can I tell you something I'm noticing about Tom Kim? You're not going to like it because I know he's like your second coming of fucking Superman and everything like that.
Don't talk negatively about my Tom Kim.
Well, I'm going to say this. Did you notice watching him on TV? You remember when Jordan was going through the driver yips and Cam McCormick had him doing that funky ass drill where he takes it before he pulls the trigger, he takes it way outside and then he slots it almost like a modified reroute. Did you see Tom Kim? And I told you at CJ Cup, he started working with Cam McCormick, and I was like, oh my God, Cam McCormick's so good with putting, but I feel like he could fuck something up. Tom Kim is doing that same fucking routine. Did you see
Tom
it?
Kim's swing was so simple. His swing was so simple. Not a lot of wrist hinge. Comes straight back down. Doesn't need to reroute it.
He's doing it with his irons too. And he did not play that good for Tom Kim last week. He's one of the favorites with the way he played there in the President's Cup. But I'm like, oh my God. Now this Cam McCormick is my theory is, I don't know 100%, but you put 2 and 2 together, and it's the same rehearsal that Jordan ditched recently too. You remember when he started playing good about 6 weeks ago when he started getting rid of that routine. But I'm like, oh my God, why did nobody ever touched the Mona Lisa, right? Picasso, you never went behind fucking Picasso and touched anything up. It was already good. So that's just my alert to the gamblers out there. Maybe an alert to maybe
a little MC.
Well, but then again, Koreans on Zoysia and Bermuda are usually pretty good because that's what they grow up on at home. That boat. So
he'll probably just go
see.
back to what feels good for him at that time.
Well, we'll know when we watch PGA Tour live, I guess, on Thursday. On Thursday morning, I got a late tee time. I didn't see if he's early, but I'll be interested to see if he's bought into this Cam McCormick stuff. But like I said, nobody ever touched the Mona Lisa after it was done. So we'll see if he's experimenting with something new to gain some distance or something like that. Because I remember him hitting it fucking straight as shit.
Oh my gosh!
What? Yeah,
you're right. Though he's probably trying to pick up some speed, just like everybody.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Guess what? It's time for the penny bet.
Let's go.
Individual.
Defending champ here, like 10-1. The greatest comeback in skinny guy caddy history it's still going to be moving forward. Tall. Well, I know it's a good field. It's a good field. Obviously, Scotty's in the field. Ram's not here. Jordan's not here. JT's not here.
I have a feeling I know who you're going with.
KH Lee.
Wow.
For the three banger.
Wow.
For the three banger.
A three banger.
Koreans on Zoysia, bro.
Oh,
C flag, hit flag.
gosh.
Yeah, you thought I was baiting you right. I left Scotty Schauffele wide open for you. The Texas playing Johnny that he is. So I'm not feeling bad for you. I just have
everybody's picking him. Damn
What's that?
Everybody's picking Scotty. You look at everything out there right now. Scotty Schauffele.
Yeah, of course it's Texas.
I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to surprise you.
Okay, let me document this. KH Lee versus. Go ahead.
Xander
I have to check
Schauffele.
on you.
Is
he in the field this week? You might want to double check and make sure he's in the field.
Did you
have your field list?
No, he's in the field. Hang on.
You better look at your field list. You've made this mistake before, and I don't want you to get embarrassed on
I'm almost
national YouTube. I haven't seen him at all this week. No chance that he's fucking playing the week before the PGA. He's in San Diego right now grinding, bro, and he's going to get to Oak Hill on Saturday early. Yep, that's right. Yep, that's right. Yep, that's right.
Oh, no.
I just saved you.
Why did I not? Hang on a second. I swear to God that I saw him in the field.
No, he's never in the field. Yeah, so I can erase X.
Hang on, let me look up.
Bro, he's not in the field. Get it through.
Oh, he played last year in this.
Okay, there you go. New pick.
All right, you gotta get. I'm going with Scotty Schauffele.
You fucker. Fuck. We fucking fuck.
Damn it,
That's all I gotta say.
Oh, I really didn't want to have to go there, but
yeah.
That's why you didn't pick Xander Schauffele, because he's not in the goddamn field. What an embarrassing moment that was. Gee.
Well, that's number 2 for you this year.
No wonder. You're on such a heater.
3 strikes and a new. 3 strikes and get replaced by Mikey Perez.
Holy shit.
Wouldn't that be interesting? Me and Mikey going at it. Holy shit. Hey, not to change this.
Mikey's doing well, by the way.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, Mikey. So I talked to him not that long ago. He is now the head pro. I don't know the golf course, but it's up in Northern California. So he made the move. Yeah, a gentleman that he knows that he owns the golf course offered him the head pro gig, and he went up to Northern Cal is the last that I heard from him. Just from about 2 weeks ago, I was chatting with him. We were texting back and forth.
That's perfect for him, right? He's got such a bubbly, outgoing, energetic personality.
Absolutely.
He'll be great. He'll be great for that fit. I'm not sure. Is it private or is it public?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Either way. Actually, public might be better for Mikey. You never know. Hey, you know what I wanted to mention was the European Tour, Adrian Marron, the big 6'6" guy that I've been raving about from Poland. He got it done last week. And from more gambler info, he's going to be in the PGA and he moves it pretty good. And I was raving about him some weeks ago, about a month ago, watching him play and keeping my eye on him. That this is a name for guys to remember coming over here in the future too. Adrian Marron, one of those new, big, tall, skinny.
He could be a little dark horse for the PGA.
Yeah, he might be. He might be a little top 25 action. So I wanted to give him a little shout out. I think that's the 3rd National Open I read that he's won on the European Tour, which, those National Opens are, nothing's like our U.S. Open, but I had mentioned what Canadian Opens are like when you get somebody a National Open in their home country, obviously. they're energetic and they're exciting. They're a little more pressure packed than other ones. So shout out to the big fella from Poland.
Oh, there it is. And since we're talking international, the crew that was just over in Singapore is now over in Tulsa with Live Golf. Bobby Brown's favorite topic of the show.
Best part of the show. God, thank God.
Now we're starting with the good. We're starting with the good. I just have to remind. So for everybody who's new to the podcast and is a Live Golf fan, we do have a segment of Live Golf that's the good. That's what we start with. And then we will let you know when we start getting into the band to where we start to criticize a little bit, start to, you know, pick a little fun, add a couple different things because of how things are embellished and so forth on the Live Golf circuit. But that being said, we are going to start off with the good. So, Bobby, you said that you spent a lot of time this week talking with a special somebody about Cedar Ridge Country Club and Broken Arrow.
Yeah, I got it from, I'm good friends with Bo Van Pelt. He lives in the neighborhood of Southern Hills. He got in this week. BVP did. And he's a big Tulsa guy. He knows everything about those golf courses. And I'm like, what's that track like? Is it like Southern Hills? He goes, no, it's not like Southern Hills. He told me, one interesting thing is when the USAM was at Southern Hills, this was the second golf course, right? And Bo told me that the scores held up relatively the same to Southern Hills scores. They weren't much better. So he told me it's a shorter. I saw you gave Dustin Johnson a plug this week because we were getting back to the States and we were waiting for him to pop. But apparently, according to BVP, this is a shorter, tight, tree-lined golf course. How is it
shorter? It's 73.22. 7,322 yards, and it's a par 71.
Fully tipped. I'm just telling you what he told me. Maybe he thinks 7,300 is short, but I know it's 12 minutes from his house. He's played it a lot. Maybe it's very hilly. Sometimes if you're 7,300 yards and you're elevated all the time, you know, 73 comes down to 71 and change really quick, and 73 is fully tipped out. And we know
they're not going to be tipped out.
We know Liv's tendencies, aka Adelaide. It's
probably going to be 6,900 yards.
Because I asked Bo, I go over or under 16 under wins it, and he stopped for a second. He goes, "Man, that's a pretty good number, you know, 4 a day or what have you." No, that would be 5 a day plus 1, 5 or 6 under a day. So he just said it was a lot tighter and a lot more trees than probably, you know, what we would expect coming back to the States.
Interesting.
With those bomber tracks. So that's a little recon. It's not like it's going to change my picks or anything like that.
I know it's
not going to change. It's not going to change my picks. But, you know, shorter tree line courses, I wouldn't say would play into super bombers' hands. Not that any of the super bombers are playing good out there, other than maybe Peter Uline and Kokrak happened to have a good week last week. So I'm excited. You know what I mean?
Too. I want to see if
I'm going to tell you one thing. They're going to get fucking people. They're going to get people there because Gooch is from Tulsa. He does big charity events there. They already started doing all their charity stuff at this little hidden giggle I think he had yesterday or today out there. Yep. So I read that they're expecting 10,000 fans a day. So, hey, if you've ever been to Tulsa, there ain't much to do. I can tell you, take it from a guy that was there for 8 days for Southern Hills. There's a lot of weed shops and a lot of strip bars from what I remember. And I would imagine they're very, you know, it's Oklahoma. So, you know, Tulsa's got a good program but they breed a lot of athletes out of Oklahoma with those 2 major universities there and that kind of stuff. And you just got to think of any, I guess I'll call it a major sporting event because it is a major sporting event for them. Comes to town, you know that they're going to show their support, especially with the home guy looking for the trifecta. Wouldn't it be nice if we had double trifectas? KH Lee wins this week for me, and then Taylor Gooch wins for his caddy.
I would rather see Taylor Gooch win back home, and get his three-peat. I mean, just let's get the trifecta there, Taylor Gooch. What do you say, buddy?
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, come on, Taylor.
It's tough though when you go back home and all of a sudden all the pressure's on you. There's a different type of pressure, right? I mean, we saw that with Cam Smith at Adelaide, and you know it was tough to. I mean, we saw it in that first day, and he said he came out and was just like, "That's the most nervous that I've been outside of the majors." So there's that. Now, I do expect another very solid tournament from Brooks Koepka. Yeah. And then, like you already alluded to, Dustin Johnson, and here's my hot take of the Live Golf Tulsa event. Dustin Johnson will have his best tournament of the year. Do you like it? Do you not?
What he fucking best tournament of the year is 10th. So you're telling me, if he finishes 9th, that's like you're gonna win. That's like good. Is that good for him?
I will say this: he's gonna finish top 5 this week.
Well, I'll bet you 1,000 pennies he doesn't.
Done.
Let me write that down. DJ No Top Cinco.
Yeah.
Got it.
Top 5.
Okay. All right, good. We got the ball. We got the ball rolling.
I think he's not rolling.
I don't think. You know where I tell you, I think his headspace is. He got 150 fucking million, and he already had 150 million. It might be the second of the 3-year. Trending into I don't give a fuck, and until I really want to give a fuck. And when he wants to give a fuck, he'll be a force to be reckoned with. But I'm banking that he does not finish in the top 5. And if Bo describes this course like it really is, then I think he's going to struggle, because I don't think he's been driving it that good. You know, he doesn't have the tailor-made team around him anymore on a weekly basis, because he was always fiddling with drivers every 2 or 3 weeks. The guy I mentioned with Rory Kisabarbaro is like best. They're like brothers, him and Dustin. I'm sure he's getting to share a product, but getting your share of product at Jordan's course or the Bears Club tests and stuff is not like being on campus at a tour event when there's 2 or 3 reps standing around you with TrackMans and you know, not that Dustin even needs a TrackMan. He can tell you after 5 swings if he likes one or not, but I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about it. So
interesting.
I'll go against your top 5.
You know who else that I think is going to do or play really well?
We could have a lot of who?
Yeah, Bubba Watson. I think this is a course tailor-made for Bubba Watson this week. So that means the range goats are going to play really well. So be on the watch out for a back-to-back championship win. I think it's going to come down to the range goats versus the 4 aces for the Tulsa title. And by the way, have you seen Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah, well, okay, so I lost. So I watched the first 4, and I kind of lost.
What?
I kind of lost interest in
Bobby.
it. Want to know a movie that I watched the other night that made me bawl my eyes out with Tom Hanks? Otto, A Man Called Otto.
Yes, that's a great movie.
Did you see it yet?
Yeah, with the little robot.
No. You're thinking another one. This is like an emotional Tom Hanks.
No, I have not.
Older Tom Hanks.
I was thinking it was the little robot guy. It's just him and the robot.
Yeah. No, this is one of those tearjerker movies. So if anybody gets a chance to see Tom Hanks in this A Man Called Otto, if you want to get a little misty and not have to add salt to your popcorn because your tears will do it for you.
After Bobby's little depressing part of the show, you can go now after listening to the podcast and go cry your eyes out. There you go.
Yeah.
We've got that going for our fans.
What a bad person I am. What about you got any more good stuff?
That is it for the good. That is it for the good. So everybody, this is your warning. If you are a live lover, this is the time that you press pause. You get out of this episode. You turn it off of YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening, Podopolo, you go ahead and you just stop right now, because this is your earmuff warning. So earmuffs, live golf lovers, or live lovers as we refer to them as. And boy, oh boy, here we go with the bad. And the press is coming out of Adelaide this week, where, did you hear? There's quite a few members that are not too thrilled. Now, it was like 80% of the membership approves of everything and is fine with them coming back next year. But there's 20% of that country club. And it'll be interesting to see if anything comes from this that are really pissed off, because I drive past TPC Scottsdale all the time. And TPC Scottsdale, it looks like a mess in a lot of ways because of all of the stands. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's all those patchworks that get done because of all the foundations of all the hospitality tents and everything. Yeah. Those don't heal for like 6 to 8 months. And then all of a sudden it goes right back in again. So that being said, they're running into that at Adelaide, and it sounds like they're not accustomed to that. They used to have some tournaments go on there and so forth, DP World Tour, and not nearly the amount of hospitality tents and stuff like that. So they are not too pleased whatsoever with that. So again, it'll be interesting to see. I don't want to blow this story too far up.
No, I don't blow it too far because, I read the same thing you did. And you know what my take is on that? I can probably nail the demographic of the small percentage of people that don't like it.
The old guys?
They've been, 20 to 50 year members. That's their course. That's their baby. They're not used to seeing this burnout spot and that burnout spot. So I think, like, if you say, if you pulled 10 members, I'm sure eight of them were super stoked, and the ones that aren't super stoked were the ones that wanted to tee it up at their normal 7:10 tee time Monday morning after the tournament, and that probably wasn't possible, So I mean, hey, it was it was the part of the year that turned everything around. To Liv was kind of, I wouldn't say dying on the vine, but they were there was no momentum and there was nothing special happening with their early tournament starting in Mayakoba. And this one kind of turned the corner. Got a lot of people excited, especially for the fucking Aussies, right?
Yeah.
I guarantee if you polled our readers and that kind of stuff, they'd say, fuck those handful of members at Adelaide. That thing's coming back. And that thing's
actually audience members from Australia, because I know there's several of you that listen to the show. Comment in the YouTube comments, because I know a lot of you are the YouTube listeners.
If anyone are close to Adelaide, let us know if you got a peek at it, or you went out and played recently, or you get a chance to play in the next month or two. If it takes that long, I assume it takes that long for everything to heal. Not that they have as many grandstands and stuff as Waste Management, because that's like the epic, the mega one. But give us a shout out on something like that, and let us know what the conditions like and what the vibe is around there, if anybody's local, anyways. So
absolutely, Bobby. What else you got on the bad side of Live Golf?
I don't really have anything for the. Do it. Just do it now. Do you? Ready? I'm ready.
Golf picks, but
yes,
louder.
Who goes first? Is it team or individual?
For the individual or team? Go ahead, individual.
Okay. I've been thinking about this because I'm feeling so bad. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's your T card. Well, I fucking jumped him because I knew what I was doing about at the start of the year. And the math just worked out where I could keep picking him. But I want you to know that I'm feeling a little bit guilty. So this week, I'm going to take C1 Kim again. Let me document that.
I fucking knew it. I knew. I knew you are an absolute savage, just like me.
You can't pick Pat Perez because it's tight. It's tree line. And last time you picked him, he played good.
I know. I'm not picking him. I'm going with Martin Keimer.
Oh, okay. You're going with the injured
warrior. He's struggled since he's come back, and he's not in form. And I'm hoping those trees get in the way.
Yeah, I gotcha. So
nothing against Martin Keimer. I actually really like Martin Keimer.
Yeah, ich spreche Deutsch too. Hey, listen. So you speaking Deutsch good. What about the team? So it'd be your pick for the team,
it's
right?
My pick, yeah.
Who's your pick for the worst team?
Right back to the Cliques.
The Cliques. Tell me again who's on the Cliques. I don't even fucking know.
It's every fucking week, Bobby.
I know.
It's Graham McDowell. It is.
G-Mac.
Yeah, hang on. So it is Graham McDowell. It is Richard Bland. It is Martin Keimer, and it's Bernd Weisberger.
And the cheeseburger, Weisberger. Man, I want to fucking switch up my bet, but I hate Danny Lee so much. I can't.
You go with C1 Kim, so you're doubling down.
Yeah. I hate Danny Lee so much. I heard bad. He's from Dallas, and I was talking to him. I'm gonna fuck. I want to fucking roast. I want to roast his fucking ass to tell people what a bad person fucking Danny Lee is, and I'm gonna fucking do it right now. Okay, I'm not gonna mention my friend's name, but he's a PGA Tour player of the Korean descent, and he's staying at Danny Lee's house. Danny is obviously not here. Danny is going through a divorce right now, and he has 2 kids. I'm not going to say
spilling the tea here
because it's so Danny Lee's not a good human being. That's what I'm gonna say. So I'm fucking betting. I'm taking Danny Lee's house.
Wow, so some stories have come out, team. Bobby.
Yeah, but they're bad.
Wow. Oh,
it's like piece of shit human. It's like, let's just classify it under piece of shit human being stories. And that's where I rank Danny Lee right now. Piece of shit human being. So I'm betting against them. I went from tears to wanting to punch somebody in the face.
I gotta give you credit. I mean, there was only a couple weeks ago that you were happy for him winning down in Tucson. And now all of a sudden,
I didn't know he was such a fucking piece of shit. So now I know he's a piece of shit.
Can we get an inkling as to what this is?
It's a family thing, and it involves his kids. So you know what I mean? You only have one set of kids usually, don't you? You know, take care of your fucking kids, Danny. There you go. You heard it from me. Take care of your fucking kids. I rank him right up there with fat fucking boy Slim, fat Brad. Two pieces of shit.
I'll
shit my pants if they get paired together. I will shit my pants if they get paired together. It's a sign.
What if they're in the final group on Sunday?
Want a Kentucky Derby story? I picked the winner of the Kentucky Derby.
No,
you know my big horse racing background. All my caddy buddies, Billy Spencer, Troy.
Because that was a surprise pick.
I didn't bet him here, but I loved him. He 17-1 or something like
Bobby,
that.
You could have thrown your boy a bone here.
I know. I was handicapping the night before.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing on the horse bets.
Dude,
you should have tossed me a couple.
I think he had just gotten beat in the Florida Derby, and it looks like the kid fucking sent him.
You.
Let me go through my horse racing spiel. The kid sent him. You can see on paper, the kid sent him too early. He made the lead. He got tired like the last 60 yards. And I just felt if he got into the right spot that there was going to be 20-horse field. There's always cheap speed. It's a race to the first turn because there's rabbits in there. Other trainers will enter one or two more horses that qualify just for the speed to set it up for their big horse. But here's the deal. My brother Gary, who's a horse racing expert who lives there in Scottsdale, I Venmo him $100 every year, and he goes to Turf Paradise and he bets I just let him pick everything, a bunch of pick threes, bunch of pick fours, bunch of pick fives. So I'll tell you what a pick five is. So if the Derby was race 10, you can start in the sixth race, you can bet a pick five, 50-cent pick five, but the more horses you use, the more it gets expensive. So it would be the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th race. So he bets his pick 3, pick 4, and pick 5. He sends me the tickets. We win the first race, the 6th race. We win the second race with a $60 winner with a 30-1 shot. Okay. We win the third race with a $20-some winner. Then we win the fourth race, and we have for $22,000. The pick 5 is going to win. If Two Phils wins, the 3 horse is one of our horses, and we had the favorite, the 14 horse. What is it? Love Thy, whatever it was. The favorite that ended up finishing third. That was going to pay $8,000.
Shitting me right now.
No, well, we didn't win because Maj won, and I didn't want to. My brother's a better handicapper than I am, tenfold. But the 3 horse made the lead turning for home. Did you see it? And he Two Phils. He opened up about a length and a quarter or a length and a half, and the other horse ran him down, and the favorite kind of stalled out and finished third, who I like, by the way, the Belmont, if you're gamblers, the favorite that just finished third in the Derby. I think a mile and a half is going to suit him perfectly. He can stay closer to the lead. But I cold decked the winner and didn't get a penny for it. But we were alive for 20, and we would have hit the pick 3 and the pick 4 too. So it would have probably been, if 3 horse wins, listen to this caddy story, we probably would have been splitting up fucking 30 large 4 ways. My brother's texting me after every race. He goes, we're actually alive for big money, not like $278 trifecta or something like that. So that's my Derby deal.
Damn, Bobby, that's a good Derby story right there. You almost got yourself 28K.
I know.
Split 4 ways.
I know. Almost is only good in.
Well, Bobby,
hand grenades.
Have a great week this week, all right?
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Have a great week. I hope you guys do. And I like what you were saying with the mindset too. That Go ahead.
This is important. Hey, everybody, it was Matt's birthday last week.
It was, yeah.
Happy birthday, Matt. Happy birthday to you, my man. You Bobby. Make this clock go round and round and round. Hey, 29 for life, bro.
There you go. 29 for life.
You're going to be, well, I mean,
people do think I'm still in my 20s. I add 10 years and we're there.
Hey, listen, look at it. You're looking at a 50-year-old. If I take away the turkey neck, that is fucking no more than 46 and a quarter. You know that. But God gave you the gift of that look right there. So, yeah, you're going to age great. You're going to age gracefully. So happy birthday.
I appreciate it. Thanks,
from
Bobby.
Everybody. All right, buddy.
And I like what you said about Troy this week. The mindset.
Yep.
You know, I think you guys might have a great week. Let's hope. Fingers crossed.
We could use a couple of Hail Marys from you Catholic followers, too.
Okay.
A couple of Hail Marys.
I'll say a couple prayers.
All right, brother.
Thanks, Bobby.
Take care.
Have a good one.
All right, see ya.
Thank you for tuning in to Season 2 of the Pull Hook Golf Podcast. Make sure to hit subscribe and go to www.pullhookgolf.com for more information.